Headstrong, violent. No use of the mind God gave. Headstrong, violent.
The doctor who conducted President Trump's physical says he's in great shape, because if he didn't, it's off to El Salvador. That's what I would do. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another segment of Kenny Webster's Pursuit of Happiness. Ethan, do me a favor. Straighten that camera out there. It just occurred to me that we forgot to do that before we started. One of our producers and journalists from the KTRH newsroom is here in the studio with me right now. Is that the right camera for you? Let's see here. Can we see you? It is. We need to straighten that out just a little bit. Because there we go. There, looking good. Ethan's in the studio. What's up, brother?
Hey, everybody.
Ethan Buchanan is here.
Now that you can see and hear me.
Ethan, I appreciate that you're here. Your father, Pat Buchanan, wrote one of my favorite books, Death of the West. Have you ever read that book?
I have not read that book.
It's time to... remind me later. I'll give you a copy of it. Ethan Buchanan, how old are you?
22 now.
So you're a Zoomer.
Yeah, Gen Z.
You're not old enough to be a millennial. I'm an elder, wise millennial. I could tell you all about what your 30s are going to be like, what's going to happen to you. You're going to get married at some point. Then you're going to put weight on.
Right.
Then you're going to get divorced, and then you'll lose all the weight.
As one does.
So that you can date women that will be the age you are right now.
Okay.
But you'll be my age. It won't be that bad. You, Ethan, you are a very smart young man. You're a conservative. You have a radio show that airs on this station on Sundays. I encourage people to check that out. Sunday nights. What's the show called, real quick?
The Next Gen Report with Ethan Buchanan, Sundays at 7 on AM 950 KPRC.
And people don't know this, but to radio people, that's a funny name for a radio show, because Next Gen is the name of the software that we use to operate.
Yeah. Complete coincidence.
It's just a coincidence, nothing to do with it. Ethan, this weekend you participated in a reenactment.
Yeah.
By the way, before we get into this, I just want everyone to know the topic of this radio segment and this live stream on social media will be fat shaming. We're going to shame fat people. But before we get to that, let's tiptoe into it. Look, I'm not perfect.
Right.
You're not perfect.
Absolutely.
I can only squat like 270. You know, I've never been able to get up any higher than that. You know, that rack pull, I could barely do 400 pounds. You know what I mean? What about you? What do you squat?
Oh, hell, I don't even know. I really do have no idea. I can squat my body weight, and that's as far as I've ever tried.
But that's pretty good, squatting your body weight. This weekend, you participated in a Civil War reenactment near Shreveport. Mm-hmm. The Battle of...
Pleasant Hill, yeah. Battle of Pleasant Hill. Technically, it's a Battle of Pleasant Hill and Mansfield. It's kind of a 2-for-1. So that's when the Union Army was going up towards Shreveport. They wanted to capture Shreveport and then move into Texas. The Confederate Army just basically stopped them at Mansfield, Louisiana, and then pushed them back to Pleasant Hill, Louisiana, and then that kind of forced them to run all the way back to, like, New Orleans.
All right, so I'm not a history buff. How did this Civil War thing end?
So basically, we gave up. The South gave up.
Is that right? So the North wins. Okay, well, all right. Well, now we know. Apparently tariffs had something to do with that, and I'm told slavery a little bit. If there was a tariff on fast food... course, it doesn't work that way. But if there was, what would the big girls do, Ethan? What would they,
Well, historically speaking, we know from examples what the big girls do when they're kind of threatened. They complain about it.
Yeah.
So in terms of practical effects, there wouldn't be much. But in terms of annoying TikToks and Instagram Reels, it would be the biggest news story of all time.
Why? Why would it be the biggest news story of all time? Why?
Only because of the wall-to-wall coverage of the big girls crying about it.
Okay, there's a video I want to share right now, and this is, look, RFK Jr. is in charge now of Health and Human Services. Hopefully that's a step in the right direction. But if we change the contents of some of our food, what happens to society in general? You remember several years ago, you were probably in high school or middle school when this happened, but Michelle Obama changed the public school cafeteria food.
Oh, yeah.
And it was supposed to become healthier. But instead, all it did was cause a lot of kids to stop buying cafeteria food because they didn't want government-ish distributed green beans, essentially. Did you eat the public school food? So
I was homeschooled. So I got to watch all of my friends complain about this while I had pizza for lunch in my bed.
That does explain a lot that you were homeschooled. I get that you're kind of normal in terms of your politics, but then socially, I've never spoken to another human being outside of work. But other than that, yeah, it's fine. I will say this. Back in the 20th century, because that's how old I am, we thought you homeschool kids were weird.
We are.
And now in the 21st century, we realize it's actually the public school kids that turned out to be very bizarre. I noticed a lot of the homeschool kids aren't mutilating their genitals. So.
Yeah, no, it does happen, but it's rare. It is rare.
Not as common.
Like they say, if you homeschool your kids, they won't be able to fit into society. Yeah, that's the point.
That's the whole point, right? Okay, so getting back to fat shaming. Now, I assume a lot of our listeners and viewers have probably seen this video I'm about to play. Several years back, there was a town hall with a bunch of black women who were trying to explain how they're fat because, among other things, Republicans are so racist.
I hate when people talk about black women being obese. I hate it because it becomes a way to blame us for a set of conditions that we didn't create. We are living in the Trump era. And look, those policies kill our people. And what public health practitioners think is that our stress responses in the body change our metabolism. It's literally that the racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
I've never, ever watched this video without laughing out loud. It's when she says literally, I lose it every single time. No, you're fat because you had Arby's 3 times today. I'm sorry, it's not anything to do with racism. Look, for the record, our president, Donald Trump, the guy you're blaming for your obesity, I don't know if you've noticed this, but he's not a little guy. He's a bigger boy.
Oh, yeah.
Is he overweight because of racism against black people? Probably not.
He's overweight because of racism against orange people.
That explains it.
Tangerine Americans are suffering right now.
Okay, the reason we brought up this topic today wasn't because of that video, although, come on, play the hits.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People want to play the hits. If you're picking songs, play the hits. There's been a lot of talk over the last month about how airlines could soon charge overweight passengers more for a plane ticket. And obviously this has really upset some people because they don't want, to have to pay more because most people are fat. Obesity you're not old enough to remember this, Ethan. There was a time when everyone wasn't fat.
Right.
You're from Texas. Have you ever seen these old photos from the 60s and the 70s? Of people in Galveston? There's a famous photo, if you look, I wish I had the picture in front of me, is a woman roller skating on Seawall Boulevard in Galveston while she's holding a baby and smoking a cigarette.
God, America was so great.
I know. As horrible as that sounds, she's gorgeous. She's this beautiful woman with a cigarette and a baby just roller skating in a bikini. I was like, what the hell happened? That was America? Sure, she's smoking, she's exercising, she's procreating. Good for her. The baby's probably fine.
Hopefully.
We have no idea. I don't know. I do want to find that photo. But anyway, before we get to any of that, do we charge overweight passengers more? Look, it's not my fault that you need more fuel to get you up into the plane. It's sad, right? But that's the case. Often is the case. It's a bunch of personal choices. Over the weekend, this video went viral. There's actually a lot of videos like this. When I saw this video, I almost thought I'd seen it before. But then it occurred to me, though, there's like 9 or 10 videos that have gone viral over the last few years depicting a woman that's kind of like this lady.
My body isn't the problem. The system is. Airlines are making it difficult for plus-size people to travel by designing seats that are too small for even the average human. My worst experience on a flight was this one time when I was flying standby and I got stuck in the bulkhead row where the armrest couldn't be moved. The flight was full, so I had no choice but to stay in the seat. I endured excruciating pain for hours, wedged between the armrest, which left bruises on my body. I was on the verge of tears by the end and in so much pain that I almost vowed to never fly again. The physical pain lasted for days, but the emotional toll of being treated like I didn't belong was even harder to recover from. Airlines aren't...
Stop. Rewind it. Ethan, can you explain what's in front of her right now for people listening to us on the radio? What is this right here?
Okay, so that is a sparkly cup.
Okay, have you seen the videos of fat girls making their daily water? There's a lot of these videos out there. Water's having a moment where people will get flavors and juices and they mix it together. Today I'm doing a Sparkle Pony water blend, and then basically they take water and they add so many ingredients to it that it becomes something else. It's not water anymore.
Right.
It certainly isn't healthy. What do you think that cup's filled with? Without knowing, if you had to guess.
Without knowing, she seems like the type of person that would go nuts for a ridiculous Starbucks drink. You know the type.
But you know there's sugar in this is my point, right?
Right. Like you load it up with so much cream and sugar and whipped cream and everything. So like you said, it's not water anymore. It's that, you know, the base ingredient of Coke is water. So if I drink a bunch of Coke, then I'm basically drinking water. No, you're not. You're drinking sugar.
It's not water, right? Exactly. Okay, very next frame in the same exact video, what do you see right next to her right there?
That big old red thing of water.
Again, she has a giant container of fluid. One of my buddies is a popular YouTube video guy. His name's Nuance Bro. He's been on the show before. He's a conservative YouTube personality. A lot of people on Twitter know him. He carries around a giant container of water everywhere he goes because he's training, because he's trying to lose weight. I mean, he doesn't need to lose weight. He's in very good shape. But the point of that is he's constantly flushing the toxins out of his system. I can tell you with great certainty that this woman with a box of snacks next to her and two giant fluid containers in every video, every time you see her on frame, she's got a drink in her hand, that's not water. And that's part of the reason why you require 2 seats, lady.
Yeah.
She's mad right now because she doesn't fit in the chairs.
Anything at all to make it easier for plus-size people to travel. When you're forced to buy 2 seats or squeeze into a space that wasn't designed for your body, it's not just inconvenient, it's dehumanizing.
It's dehumanizing. I think dehumanizing is abusing your body your entire life to the point where you expect major corporations to change the size of the seats that people are sitting in because it needs to adhere to your personal life choices. There's a similar controversy right now happening with Carnival amusement and theme park rides. You've seen this?
Oh yeah, they can't fit in the thing doesn't close. They can't ride the ride because they're too fat. They just want to be treated like everybody else. But at no point does anybody that's saying I want to be treated like everybody else think, should I act like everybody else? Like, you're 400 pounds heavier than everybody else. You can't be treated like everybody else.
Okay, so and by the way, this isn't the only one of these bizarre stories we had this week. I found another one recently. I just lost it here. I just closed the window by mistake. People Magazine did an article. Here we go. This is so interesting. Look at the headline here. People Magazine wants you to believe that by shaming someone, passenger who refused to give aisle seat to overweight traveler on flight is second-guessing her decision. What? No.
Right, yeah.
Huh? I'm sorry. And so the whole article explains how there isn't much point in paying for seats if you can't actually sit on them. I was unreasonable. No, I demand to sit in the aisle seat. I book my seat months in advance so I can sit in the aisle seat. I will pay extra for the aisle seat. Do you know why, Ethan? I'm 6'3".
Right.
If I sit in economy or economy plus, we all like to splurge and sit first class, but if I sit in economy or economy plus because nothing else is available, I'm not going to sit by the window because there's not enough room for me because I'm 6'3". That's not a choice. That's just the way I am.
Right.
If in addition to that I was morbidly obese, why would you expect other people to change because of your life choices? I'm going to conclude with this point here because we need to wrap this up. Ethan, there is a common narrative that being fat is cheaper than being skinny. Have you heard this before? Can you explain their theory?
Yeah. So basically, healthy food is expensive. You know, it's obviously way cheaper to buy food at Whole Foods where everything's supposed to be kind of healthy and fresh than it is to go to Kroger and just buy a bunch of junk food. Obviously, that's the case. But of course, there's secondary factors that make being fat far more expensive than eating healthy. You're paying more for healthcare. You're paying more for travel oftentimes. It costs more to be alive when you're 400 pounds. You can maybe save money on food, but even then, I bet you they're eating way more junk food than they would healthy food, and that'll also bring the price down a little bit too. Cut back on all the food, and then the food that you do eat, make sure it's healthy.
Right. So the common narrative is that it's cheaper to eat fast food. It's not true, actually. Fast food is pretty expensive. Have you been to McDonald's recently? One person eating at McDonald's costs almost $20 nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
So compare that to just going out and buying things like rice, beans, vegetables, basic meat from the frozen food section. It's a lot cheaper. It's not even close here. I did an analysis of it on Grok earlier, and the idea that eating healthy is always more expensive than fast food is a myth. It depends on what you're eating, obviously, but generally eating healthy costs 2 or 3 times more. Eating unhealthy costs 2 or 3 times more than eating healthy, right? Now, consider this. Obese people are spending somewhere between $2,000 to $5,000 more money per year on healthcare. Obese individuals spend $500 to $1,500 more per month on food, thousands of dollars more each year on healthcare. I'm not a mathematician, but more equals more. Yeah, exactly. It's more expensive.
Yeah.
People are watching us streaming right now on social media, and I know there's always people that don't like when we do this topic because it offends. So first of all, if you're offended, I don't know what to do. Look, be fat. Just own it. You know what I mean? I think the whole reason why this topic bothers me so much, it's not even like I feel like I'm better than fat people, or I know I'm a dirtbag. I know that. I own it. I don't care. But like, why do I have to pay for you to be fat? Why should I give up my airplane seat for you? Why should I move up? Or why wouldn't you pay more for a ticket? I need to subsidize the cost of your ticket because you require 2 chairs?
Yeah, I mean, you require more real estate on the plane. You require more fuel for the plane to get where it goes because, you know, that's all based on weight. But at the end of the day, it's just a complete absence of accountability and responsibility. You want to be able to blame all of your problems, all of your issues on other people rather than just taking the onus upon yourself to like, hey, I need to be healthy. I need to deal with the consequences of not being healthy because 9.9 times out of 10, that's all because of decisions you made. But it's easier to say, no, the airplane and society and everybody else need to deal with this rather than me.
All right, Ethan, you know I like you because you remind me of me. When I was in my early 20s, I was the only person at the radio station that would show up early, stay late. That's why you have your own show. You have a podcast. You're in your early 20s. You work in the newsroom full time with a bunch of middle-aged men who gas, fart all day long, and have too much gas. It's true, right? It's true. You remind me of me. You're going to get fat, right? After you get married, then you're going to get a divorce, then you're going to lose weight. That's what's going to happen to you. How does it feel? Look right here. This is your future, young man. How does that feel?
Just tell me when exactly the knee and back pain kicks in.
Oh, my God, immediately. That's just the first time you pay your income taxes out of pocket with a 1099. Hey, that reminds me, tomorrow's tax day. I'm Kenny Webster. For those of you that watched us on social media, thank you very much for that. Somebody messed with my button bar. Oh, never mind. It still works. Someone messed with my computer today, so everything's in a different place. Here's the going away music. Thanks for watching. If you're fat, just know this. It's okay. You can be fat. Just don't ask me to pay for it. That was the only point of this. Have a great day. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning for more of what you bought a radio for.
You are listening to the Pursuit of Happiness Radio. Tell the government to kiss your ass when you listen to the show.